By the way, let's jump straight in here. This is Trump praising Vladimir Putin. He was on the Clay and Buck show. Oops, that's the wrong one. What happened? Oh, my comm screen. What happened? What are you doing? Someone is changing my screens. Stop this. Okay, go to here. Go to that. Excellent. And this kind of thing, and then go back here. Okay, so hopefully it will stay. Right? There you go. Weird. Yeah, this is him. This is Trump basically bragging about his buddy on a call-in radio show, which I think it sounds like he's there. It sounds like this is not a call-in. It sounds like they came to Mar-a-Lago or something. It's weirdly clear compared to the rest of his stuff, which sounds like it's on a hamburger phone.
We know Russia has said that they are recognizing 2 breakaway regions of Ukraine. And now this White House is stating that this is an invasion. That's a strong word. What went wrong here? What has the current occupant of the Oval Office done that he could have done differently?
Now this is, by the way, great question. What could he have done differently? I'm sure that in the next minute and 30 seconds or so of this little clip that Putin, I'm sorry, did I say Putin? Donald Trump is going to offer a strategy by which a beautiful plan that would have gotten rid of this problem early, and it could have been handled like,
what went wrong was a rigged election. And what?
All right, well then, okay. Right into the bullshit.
Wrong is a candidate that shouldn't be there and a man that has no concept of what he's doing. I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this.
Oh my God. I went in there. There was a television. You don't say. There was a television screen. And what happened? There was a
concept of what he's doing. I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius.
Yes, it's. I'm still amazed when I see a television screen, and I'm like, how do they do it?
Declares a big portion of the Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. Oh, that's wonderful. So Putin is now saying it's independent. A large.
Oh yeah, apparently he said independent
section of Ukraine.
Oh yeah, a large section of it. Basically the beachfront property.
How smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. That's the strongest peace force. We could use that on our southern border. That's the strongest peace force I've ever seen. They were more armed.
Yes, this just a former president basically saying we need missiles at the southern border to fire on immigrant families trying to cross into the country illegally.
Tanks that I've ever seen. They're going to keep peace all right. No, but think of it. Here's a guy who's very savvy. I know him very well. Very, very well. By the way, this never...
Yes. Yeah, he's very savvy right now. He doesn't look crazy as a shithouse rat. He doesn't have shifty eyes, and he's not shrugging. Like, if you watch old footage of Putin, it's not that dissimilar from, like, early Trump. Like, a bit in control. And that ain't this right now. I'll show you in a second.
Have happened with us. Had I been in office, not even thinkable.
Well, that's because you were going to give him Ukraine, and he knew this. And then you shit the bed during COVID, lost the election, which was yours to lose. And all of a sudden, he's got to find out that he's got to go to a different plan, because in about 8 to 10 years, more than likely, his because of the demographic of Russia, his fighting force is going to be cut in half.
Never have happened. But here's a guy that says, I'm going to declare a big portion of Ukraine independent. He used the word independent.
Yes, and so have you. 4 times in less than a minute.
We're going to go out and we're going to go in and we're going to help keep.
We're going to shake it all about. We're going to do the hokey pokey. I think that's Russian. And turn yourself about. That's what it's all about.
You got to say that's pretty savvy. And you know what the response was from Biden? There was no.
It wasn't. Oh, suddenly he's talking like Richard Wolff.
You got to say that's pretty savvy. And you know what the response was from Biden? There was no response. They didn't have one for that. Now it's very sad.
And by the way, it's not now it's very sad. He means to say no. It's just his accent.
There was no response.
It's very sad.
They didn't have one for that. Now it's very sad.
Nah, it's very sad. So that was Trump's praises for Vladimir Putin. We have to remember this is, and we did have a response to that. We literally started the sanctions because of that specifically. Now I want to show you something. This is a shot of, let's see. This is from The Guardian, obviously. But this is from Putin talking to his chief spy.
Таким образом,
I would like to agree with the suggestions of Nikolai Platonovich
нашим, так сказать, западным
that we can give our Western partners one last chance.
Можно дать последний шанс.
By the way, lunacy. Again, look at this fucking picture. Look how far everyone is away from him. None of them have desks or anything they can hide behind. They're all covering their dicks like he's got somebody on the sidelines that will come over and kick them in the gym.
С тем, чтобы
Presenting them with the choice in the shortest time
заставить Киев пойти на мир.
To force Kyiv to choose peace and the Minsk agreement. In the worst case, we have to make the decision. Look how pissed he is. Are discussing today. In the worst case. What does this mean? The worst case. Are you suggesting we? No, I'm totally. What does that mean? In the worst case, the worst case scenario is that you declare these two things independent countries because you're intending on taking them over, and the whole fucking world knows it.
Предлагаете начать переговорный процесс?
Нет, я...
Или признавать суверенитет
Я
Говорите прямо.
Speak plainly. Say what I told you to say. You are all... This is just a dance. I don't want your real opinion, fucko.
Поддержу предложение о признании.
I will support... I would support or I am supporting.
Поддерживаю. Говорите прямо, Сергей.
Speak plainly. I am supporting the proposal. Then say it like that, yes or no. I support the proposal about the entry of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics into the Russian Federation. We're not talking about that. We're not discussing that. You said the quiet part loud, fuckhead.
Мы говорим о
признании независимости. Yes or no? Like, you're not supposed to say absorbing them into the Russian Federation again, stupid.
Да. Я поддерживаю
support the proposal to recognize their independence.
Хорошо. Пожалуйста. Спасибо.
Thank you. You can take your seat. Now shut the fuck up. Dude, you're supposed the absorbing them into Russia, that comes after, stupid. This is my chief spy. What the hell? I mean, honestly. This is a guy who's got it together. This isn't for show. This is a guy who's doing this out of strength. Meanwhile, here he is. This is Putin in his hovel. So he's been basically running Russia from this room forever, since the beginning of COVID. Yeah. Putin. You're right. Obviously this is like 40 minutes. We're not going to watch all of this, but I want to show you, I'm going to compare and contrast something.
Relatives, not only colleagues, friends, but also our family, people we have blood and
we've got bloodlines and family in Ukraine. That's why we're fucking around with nukes and threatening them with total annihilation. You know what I mean? Like you do with family. There's a reason why I haven't been to Thanksgiving in forever.
Ties with. Since ancient times, people from ancient southwestern Russian lands were calling themselves Russians and Orthodox. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and Ukrainians have been calling themselves Ukrainians for a long time. Ask the ones that Stalin starved. The fuck is your point?
17th century, when part of these territories rejoined the Russian Empire, the Russian state, and after that.
Yes, it's always a good sign when you're grinding over shit that happened 400 years ago.
It seems that we know all about this, that we are talking about facts that everyone knows. But at the same time, we need to have understanding what is happening today to explain motives and aims that Russia has. We need to say a couple of words about the history of this matter.
Yeah. So what he eventually goes about saying, and again, like, this dude has been hiding in this room. Nobody can come and go. He's he's avoiding human contact for fear of getting COVID. Totally paranoid at this point. Anybody who might want his power can't come into the room without basically stripping down or standing far away. Like, dude's losing it. But he's strong. He's strong, and we are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Putin loves me. Yes.
I would like to start by saying that the modern Ukraine was completely created by Russia.
Was it? That's adorable.
To be more exact, but
because it was actually created. That area is sort of grown out of Vikings.
Bolshevik communist Russia. This process has started almost immediately after the 1917 revolution. And Lenin?
Yes. The starvation of the Ukrainian people started almost immediately after that.
And his supporters did it in a rough way. If we talk about Russia, they were alienating parts of historical territories of Russia. And millions of people who lived there, obviously no one asked anything.
No, they didn't.
Then before,
they're like, zip it. The less you know, the better off you are.
The Great Patriotic War in after it, Stalin added to the USSR and handed over to Ukraine some lands that belonged to Poland and Hungary. And as a compensation...
So you're going to declare those independent and give them back to Poland and Hungary, though, which are both NATO countries? Oh, no, guess not.
Stalin gave some ancient German lands to Poland. And in the 1960s, Khrushchev decided to take Crimea away from Russia and also gave it to Ukraine. That's how the territory of the Soviet Ukraine was formed. But
what a dick. You know what I mean? And then they get their independence and they want it and then they use it.
I'd like to draw your attention to the initial stages of the establishment of the USSR. I think it's of utmost importance for us because we have to start from afar.
Yeah, we got to start from the end of Tsarist Russia to the beginning of the USSR to the collapse of the USSR to the date in the 90s when we all don't give a fuck anymore. Sorry, there is no USSR. The Russian Federation is only a loosely knit group of countries that are there because they want to be, not because they have to be.
I would like to remind you that after the October Revolution of 1917 and the civil war that followed, Bolsheviks started building a new state. And they had some differences among them. Stalin, who in 1922 was at the same time Secretary General of the Soviet Communist Party, and people
where's Glenn Beck's chalkboard when you need it?
On the merits of ethnicities, decided to build the country on the principles of autonomy, thus giving to the republics, to the future administrative units, wide authority when they were supposed to join the state. Lenin criticized this plan, and he suggested...
Yeah, he just... And then this guy turned to this other guy, and then this other thing said that maybe we should try this, and I was like, brah, no way. And then he was like, maybe. And I was like, come on. And I was like, we're going to miss our bus. And then he's like, and then 1993 happened. Hold on more. And then, shortly thereafter, the Holdemar started, which is where Voldemort gets his name from Harry Potter. man-made famine that convulsed the Soviet Republic of Ukraine from 1932 to 1933, peaking in the late spring of 33. It was part of a broader Soviet famine from 31 to 34 that also caused mass starvation in the grain-growing regions of Soviet Russia and Kazakhstan. The Ukrainian famine, however, was made deadlier by a series of political decrees and decisions that were aimed mostly or only at Ukraine. In acknowledgement of its scale, the famine of 32 and 33 is often called the Holodomor, a term derived from the Ukrainian words for hunger and extermination. Adorable. A dead child on the streets of Kharkiv, Ukraine during the Holodomor. The origins of the famine lay in the decision by Soviet leader Joseph Stalin to collectivize agriculture in 1929. The teams of Communist Party agitators forced peasants to relinquish their land, personal property, and sometimes housing to collective farms, and they deported so-called kulaks, wealthier peasants, as well as any peasants who resisted collectivization altogether. Collectivization led to a drop in production, the disorganization of the rural economy, and food shortages that also sparked a series of peasant rebellions, including armed uprising in some parts of Ukraine. You want to talk about some deep history there? The rebellions worried Stalin because they were unfolding in provinces which had, a decade earlier, fought against the Red Army during the Russian Civil War. He was also concerned by anger and resistance to the state agricultural policy within the Ukrainian Communist Party. If we don't make an effort to improve the situation in Ukraine, he wrote to his colleague Lazar Kaganovich in 32, we may lose Ukraine. That autumn, the Soviet Politburo, the elite leadership of the Soviet Communist Party, took a series of decisions that widened and deepened the famine in the Ukrainian countryside. Farms, villages, whole towns in Ukraine were placed on blacklists and prevented from receiving food. I don't know if he's going to bring up that part. Hungry Ukrainian peasants in search for food during the Holodomor. Yeah, there you go. Victim of the Holodomor, Kharkiv, Ukraine. Just a dead dude. Just dead people. Mass graves filled with the victims of the Holodomor. Well, they did have that part down. All right. There you
go. To make concessions to the nationalists, the way he called them back then, advocates of independence. Basically, that was the idea about creating a confederation and give the right to...
Can you imagine if the United States decided to seize Puerto Rico and Trump or Biden or Bush or any of our presidents went in there and did a fireside chat from behind a desk in a bunker and said, yeah, Puerto Rico is basically ours. It was always ours, and it wasn't anyone else's to give away. Thanks, Christine. Yes, this is not, we're not in World War III. Don't worry about that yet. Well, that's a long way off. And the World War III will be a cyber war anyways. And you could argue that it already happened, or it's currently happening, or it will happen in some form. It depends on your matter of scale. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show in any way that you can. Don't forget, if you're on Twitch and you haven't subscribed in a while, subscribe. Help us get our numbers up. Twitch.tv/LSparks.